dignitaries on the dais, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I consider it indeed a great privilege to be here and associate myself, though in a very limited and my humble way, with this Health and Wellness Festival 2016. Actually, I am very unsure of myself, which I am not supposed to be. When I was approached by Madam Sneh and her husband to come to this inaugural function, I was asked to offer my guidance. And I also thought, being the Chief Justice, yes, I'm supposed to be guiding everyone. And so is maybe this festival. But having perused a few pages of literature provided to me and having heard from those who have spoken from the dais, I feel really dwarfed, humbled, not because merely of the towering personality of Mr. Sinha, but because of the achievements and struggle which they have spoken of. I am therefore perplexed. How do I guide you when I am myself looking for guidance to them? And this reminds me of the predicament of a woman who was to undergo surgery for removal of her gallbladder stone at the hands of a young surgeon. I don't know really whether I am able to communicate with all of you in English. I can try and speak in Hindi, but it is because of the fact that I have just been preceded by Mr. Sinha that I feel really hesitant of myself to speak in Hindi or Urdu. So I'll try to make it a little bit of a combination of both. It so happened that as the patient was moved into the operation theatre, the surgeon noticed that she was very anxious, very tense, very nervous. So looking at her condition, he asked, "Well, lady, you appear to be very tense and nervous." The patient said, "Yes, doctor, you must understand and appreciate. This is my first operation." He said, "Look at me. How do you find me?" She says, "You look very cheerful, very smart, very confident of yourself." Then the doctor said, "Well, that's the difference between you and me, though for me also this is the first surgery." And that's my situation today. I have come to speak on this dreadful disease and how to keep us fit and fine, whereas I am the one who is really now looking elsewhere for support and guidance. I will try to explain it to me in the way I see. From the life of a woman who happened to have become a victim of sexual assault in our society. There was a female baby which was born in the family of daily wage earners. The first disadvantage which she suffered from was obviously the fact that she was a female person. The sin which she committed perhaps was that she was charming looking. The greater sin was that she was in the family of persons who were very poor. And the worst crime perhaps which she could have committed was that she was blind. Her younger sister used to take her, holding her hands, lead her to various places in the neighboring village where they used to go for seeking alms. And whatever were provided to them, they used to come back home. The father used to be ordinarily outside the village, working and coming back maybe in a week or two. One day as they happened to pass by the house of a person who was supposed to be fairly rich in their area, a contractor. There was a woman who used to work in that house. She was present at the gate and she called both of them inside. The younger sister of this blind girl, she started playing with other children in the courtyard. The older one was taken inside the kitchen, made to sit there, and this woman who had called her inside said that I'll get some water for you, and then she was seen moving out of the house with a pitcher in her hand to fetch water. She didn't return. According to this girl, she suddenly heard the doors of the room being shut. She became alert. She said, "Who is it?" One man whispered, according to her, "I am Aziz, this is all on record." She says, "What do you want?" In the meanwhile, the door was bolted. He came forward, held her both hands. She started pleading for mercy. That is my honor and your honor which are involved. Please, I will be completely destroyed. This man allegedly overpowered her, committed rape on her, and left her. The children were playing outside in the courtyard. They heard somebody sobbing inside, so they came running. This girl found, this blind girl's sister found that it was my sister who was sobbing. She said, "What had happened?" She did not reply. She simply said, "Take me home." She was brought home. When the mother returned in the evening, she told her what had happened. The mother obviously waited for the father to arrive. After 2 days, father arrived. When the matter was brought to the knowledge of the father, he went and reported to the mukhya of the village. The mukhya said, "It is unbelievable, but still I'll find out from this contractor." And when the father went back, he said, "Well," he says, "have you gone mad? Do you look at this wretched girl? Do you think I will ever have this kind of relation with her or subject her to rape?" So he says, "I am helpless." So he went back. His wife said no. And this girl was very determined that, "No, I am not going to spare that man." Eventually, the matter was reported to the police. Now, everything which could have been against this woman was there. For instance, obviously, her garment wearing apparels had been washed, so there were no stains, nothing of the kind. Medical evidence was not there to support her case. In any case, because of the resolute nature which this girl had, the matter was charge sheet had came for trial. When the evidence was being given at the time of cross-examination, the cross-examiner asked, "You are blind. How could you know it was Aziz? It could have been anyone else." The reply of this girl was, "Let 10 persons speak in the courtroom. I will be able to say who is Aziz." Thereafter, no question on the identity of the man. Then the second circumstance was that it is a belated information to the police, and it is a manipulated and concocted as happens normally. And one of the reasons assigned was that when the children were playing outside, why did she not shout for help? Here it was the innovative approach of the judge. He wrote in the judgment that when you appreciate the evidence of a person who is blind vis-a-vis a person who can see, you will have to keep yourself blind. Imagine a situation if I am standing and Mr. Sinha was putting on me. If it is Banisha Kavarala, perhaps she might not be holding any weapon, but Sri Sinha being what he used to be, he could be holding a weapon. And without my knowledge also, he could have stabbed me and gone away. So that is the predicament with which a blind person suffers. So knowing her position as she was and as she had described in the court, when this man held, she started pleading, because she still hoped that, well, he has touched me, might be he will kiss me, or he will, touch me or something, fondle with me and go away. Because if you happen to see, depending upon the aggressive nature of the person you are confronting, you can modulate yourself. लेकिन जब आप आँख से नहीं देख सकते हैं तो मालूम नहीं कि उसके आँखों में क्या है. वो मुझे छूके ही छोड़ देगा कि मुझे किस करेगा कि मुझे रेप करेगा. So that was the kind of situation which this woman had. Eventually the case, I am not going into detail, the case was convicted, the sentence was given, and this is one of the unique cases, I would say, where you will find This woman who was the one who had brought in was held guilty and convicted on the ground of having abetted the offense of rape. And this was affirmed by the High Court and ultimately upheld by the Supreme Court. This case has always been a great, great inspiration for me because it showed the determination of this victim to fight. It shows the belief in the determination, not only in the what report this girl gave, and the support with her family and friends provided. And that's how she fought and survived. And that is precisely what we need in a festival like this. So there could not have been a person better than what they are. Shri Shatrughan Sinha, who has himself spoken about his own experience. Manisha Koirala, who is here. Yuvraj Singh, or maybe so many others. Because they are celebrities. When they speak, we all hear. So they have a message to carry, and when they carry message, it has far more effect than perhaps my telling or Anjana Prakash saying. Because I am not a very big family cinema fan. And during our time, it was Shri Sinha who used to rule. So I didn't have much occasion to watch Manisha Koirala's movie, but I remember when it came in the newspaper, because Koirala has always been a very fascinating title for all Indians, because we consider them only as a part of our family. That she has been detected with cancer. My wife was very emotional. She brought one film also and was forcing me to see, which I didn't really watch the whole thing, but I didn't regret then and I don't regret today. But in that film, she was shown to be a very helpless, weak woman who had perhaps lost both her legs, if I am recalling the movie correctly. But when the news came that she is now going to, she is fine and fit and going to rather carry the message as how a person has to fight this dreadful disease of cancer, I was so surprised. That day I was very sympathetic, very sad. Today I am very happy and I am inspired. He's the same person who is doing it. We never knew about Mr. Sinha, what he had undergone, what he suffered from. And today when he says, it again becomes an inspiration that is, when they can do it, why can't we? But this we are talking about persons who have already affected by the disease. So why not prepare yourself so that you don't face a situation which they had faced? They have been able to overcome. I may not be so fortunate that I would be able to necessarily overcome. So with the result, this is the time for all of us to think as to what kind of life are we going to lead. So this is the festival which really provides you with an opportunity to know as to how to avoid this disease. And if unfortunately I happen to become a victim of that, how do I fight it out? And for that, obviously, it is the way of life which will make us good or bad. We have, at least it is within our capacity to keep ourselves free from those vices which are not necessary to live or survive. It is not necessary that one has to have tobacco. It is not necessary one has to smoke. But the problem perhaps is that on the one hand we say smoking is injurious to health. On the other hand we say the other one, expose it for sale. If they happen to buy more, then you will have to pay more as excise duty to me. This is the dichotomy which we are facing. And this has to be solved by legislation and parliamentarians like Mr. Sinha. So this is the good thing that he has himself started this movement. And I'm sure one day we will see that his movement has received the objective with which it has been launched. We have seen today, I'm very happy that the Sneh application has been made, the helpline I have seen here, and the other day only I came to know there is some kind of a test which may perhaps be able to detect cancer at an advanced stage. The science is doing its own bit. Let us also help the science so that, because there is a tendency कि well जो होता है ऊपर वाला ही करता है, तो ऊपर वाले के पास में तो पूरी दुनिया का फिक्र करने का है. He has to look after the entire universe. Please have mercy on him. Take care of yourself. Because even here you say, hey, God helps those who help themselves. I can't say anything more, but when I heard Mr. Sinha speaking, I was also recalling I don't remember the film, but I remember his dialogue. He was also a student in that film. And if I am not making a mistake, the person confronting him was Pran, the great actor. And he said that it still is there in my mind because we were also students those days. अपने को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा खुद बंदे से पूछे बता तेरी रज़ा क्या है. If I am not making a mistake, I don't know. It was many years ago I heard. But it remained here. That's why I said that it is people like him who will have more appealing for us. Because whatever they say goes straight into the heart. When we speak as a judge, it will go here, but not much here. And it is always your heart which really, ordinarily is mind, but it is the heart which really controls our mind. There was a time when it was said that the healthy mind resides in the healthy body. Today, perhaps, the message is that it is the healthy mind which resides in the healthy body. So if mentally we are strong, we are tough, we are prepared to fight, and we are prepared to fight well, and if we decide to lead a life which is safe and be contributive not only to myself, because imagine a situation when a person becomes a victim of cancer, only he is not dying, his entire family dies. We see the situation of the people who come to the court, completely helpless. Because even there is a limit to which the government can go and support. Then where do you go? So let us not only help ourselves, help our nearer, dear ones, save them from the trouble and torture which they may have to suffer from. With these words, which I can't call very few words, let me conclude, but with thanks and, from the core of my heart to the organizers for enabling me to receive an opportunity to participate, and not only participate, to learn about the activities, to the persons who have come and spoken to us, and to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, for being so caring and patient to me. Thank you.